TX200 or HW77, which will I prefer? Welcome to or welcome back to the channel, whichever one it is. As always, I'm just really glad that you're here. Now, usually I'm round the other way and I've got the rifles out behind me and everything. As you've seen in the thumbnail, and as you probably just gathered from that, this is about the TX200 and my HW77. I've recently upgraded, not upgraded, but I've redone the stock on the HW77. I've just brought them down to D-Range. Thank you very much for having me again at D-Range, Daz. I massively appreciate you. Open the box to have a look at them in the cold light of day, because it's the first time I put the stock onto the the HW77 last night, put them in the box to bring here, and then I opened them up today and looked at them, and I was actually blown away by how good they look. So it's a bit different. I'm gonna start this video a bit different today. I'm actually really happy with how they've turned out. So just humour me a second. I'm doing one of these, and bear in mind, I made the concoction, and it was a linseed oil, some varnish, and there was this other stuff, I can't remember what it was called, that I put in there. And I used that to do the TX200 stock. And I really liked how it came out. It was a bit of me. So when I picked up all that other stuff, the air rifle stuff, there was a HW77 stock there. So I sanded it all back and hit it with the same stuff. And I'm really pleased with how it's turned out, because now they match. I think you'll find, hopefully. It's probably underwhelming. I think I've probably built this up a little bit too much now, but here we go. Ta-da! So we've got my TX200 here, which obviously I re-blued and did some bits and pieces on. And then we've got the HW77, and their stocks, they match. How good's that? You're probably not as excited about it as I am, to be fair, but there we go. Look how good it looks. Look how good that looks. Look at that one as well. But yeah, love them. First of all, if you're new to the channel, my name's Ads, and I've been trying to learn a bit more about air rifles and how to shoot them properly, and it's grown into, well, it's an obsession now. I'm massively obsessed with it, and my collection has grown from an MPO2 to several. This is the HW77 from Weihrauch. This came before the HW97, and this is the full-length barrel version, and this originally came with iron sights. The HW97 doesn't come with iron sights, it just comes with a dovetail mount for a scope, as this one has. It's an underlever .22 caliber. You can get them in other calibers, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's the full length barrel, so it's a lot more accurate than a lot of the other Springers that I've got. But that said, this is the TX200 from AirArms, and this is also in .22 caliber, and this is also an underlever. Now, what you will notice for the new people out there is the massive barrel length difference. This is the carbine. This is obviously the full length rifle. I don't know the figures. I think it's just better to have the visual, isn't it? I'll just keep doing that. It's a bit weird, but there we go. With a full length barrel, you tend to get a little bit more travel of the pellet. From what I understand, there's a velocity science behind it. So the pellet's in the barrel longer, gets more twists on it, so you can get a little bit more accuracy over distance, I do believe, with the longer barrel. But we're going to put that to the test today. The TX is said to be one of the most accurate rifles. And you have to do a lot of stuff to some Weihrauchs. They got a bit of a twang, they got a bit of a boing, and they bark, some of them, or the honk like a duck. Whereas the TX is a lot more expensive. Some would say it's because it's finished better. It definitely comes out with less of a twang, less of a bark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a target up at 25. If you're not new to the channel, this might be something that you've seen me do 150 times, and it might be boring for you, I don't really know. But it is something I wanted to do. I did want to shoot them alongside each other. I'll be completely honest, it's an excuse to shoot both of them. I do this all the time. I always try to come up with a reason why I'm doing it. There isn't really one. I wanted to shoot them both alongside each other, and that's that. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get some targets up and see what we can figure out. Right, let's get this going. Right, so I put a target down there with a smallish splat, I think like an inch splat, whatever it is, and a couple of little dots. I'll take a couple of shots on each of the little black dots to figure out where we are, because I haven't done any figuring out yet. This one chronoed at 11.4 on average. That one was chronoing at 10.5, 10.6 on average. But I'm coming to learn that power isn't everything, especially with break barrel rifles. Sometimes less is more. So we'll figure that out as we go. For those new to the channel or new to the TX200, this one just pulls out of a little ball socket there. Bear trap makes a little crunchy noise, the anti-bear trap. Pop your pellet in, hold in the handle, press the button and slide it back up. To start with, I used to think that the extra step was a nightmare. I've got the hang of it now because you're holding the rifle anyway. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really make no difference. Probably going to knock this about now, so I'll put that down there. Really looking forward to this today. Right up for it. And this doesn't really like a lot of hold, this rifle, from what I remember too. So let's go for the little dots first. Safety catch. Get my breathing back into check again. Oh, that was far to the left. Darren's actually got this armrest here now, so I might take advantage of that a little bit more. Oh, that's better. I had a couple group to the left and up slightly, the same as that one has. So I'll take another shot. If it groups in the same place, or goes to the same place, it would look as though I need to adjust the scope. Well, that threw me off now, hasn't it? That's thrown me off, hasn't it? On the top of this, I've got the Nico Sterling 4-16x50, and I have heard they're not good. I don't know if it's let me down, I don't know, it seems to be fine, but I have heard from people that it's not very good. So hopefully it's going to hold out for at least for today. That looked high again, but it is what it is. We're doing it. So I'm going to go for the splat below, just to see how it groups. That was bang out of order, wasn't it? That was out of order. That's got to have been a flyer. I'm not making excuses, but there's missing and then there's falling off an edge. So what I can conclude from that is the hold. It's very hold sensitive, this rifle, and I do remember it being so. At some point I am going to be pushing it all the way down to the 50, because if you're not new to my channel, you'll know that 50 meters is, I love shooting at 50 meters. I'm no good at it, but I love shooting at 50 meters. First I want to try the TX77 at the 25. So I'm going to go and change the target zone. I just did all of that without speaking into that, which meant it probably sounded rubbish, but let me just reiterate. Target change, blah, blah, blah. So now we're going to go on to the HW77. It's got a much better scope on it. This was the Hawk, I can't remember what it is. 3-12x50, the Air Max 30. So it's not probably really, if it was to be scientific, very fair test. So again, for the newbies out there, for everybody who's new to it, this one actually has a button on the end, not recommended for kids because it's a bloody long way away. And it's a lot easier to cock because the cocking arm is so much longer, it gives it a lot more leverage. See me trying to press the button. There's no button. Just pops back up like that. TX, giving me that button instinct. Right, much the same as before. I'm going to go for the little black dots. Cool. That was a complete misfire. That was a complete misfire. Ignore that one. Now the reason for that actually is a good little test, a good little lesson for you all. If you are new, going from one rifle to another, they're very, very different triggers. This one has the world famous record trigger, whereas the AirArms has its own brand of trigger. I don't know what it's called, but the AirArms first and second stage are very, very different to this one. But yeah, so that was a misfire on my part. Let's try again without touching the trigger too soon. So first stage is a lot shorter on this one. Okay. Again, just getting an idea, getting a feel for it again. They've all got different holds as well. That's a bit more like it, but was it just fluke is the question. I'm not saying anything, let's go for the other one because I punched that one out now. Now, the TX is an incredibly accurate rifle, but the same as there are pellets for barrels, there are scopes for rifles that all suit each other. I'm not going to speak too soon, but I just think this rifle suits me. I just think it fits. You watch me miss by about 75 meters now. Yes! I'm trying to be diplomatic because the AirArms is great. Love it. And there's probably, I need to do some work with it. It could be the scope, could be anything, but there's just something about the 77 that makes my heart sing. Right, let's go for the actual target now. Well, what can I say? Now, obviously, with the longer barrel, you get more accuracy. With the lower power, you get more accuracy. Could be that the scope isn't as good as this one. I don't know. But this isn't a scientific test. This is just me shooting both of them next to each other. And I just love this freaking rifle, man. For those of you who don't know as well, if you're new to the channel, I paid £200 for this rifle with a view to taking it apart and bluing it and making it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it until it needs something doing because it's absolutely brilliant. Next, I'm going to go on to, I think I'm going to go on to the 35 and see what they both perform like at that. We'll do exactly the same thing, but I'll rattle through it a little bit more because you don't need me chatting in between it all. Change of plan. So we're still going to go with the 35. I'll put one splat down there. I'm going to take 10 shots at it. That way, in the edit, I can rattle through it because I know that you've all got stuff to do. I know he has. I know he's got stuff to do. You're just procrastinating and wasting time, but I'm glad you are. We put one splat up, 10 shots. Let's blast through them. So that's the 10 shots. I'm starting to think whether or not it could be something to do with the scope because I know this rifle is incredibly accurate. I know that it is. So what I might do, in order to be fair, I'm going to do the HW77 at the same distance, and then before I go on to the 50, I might change the scope. I do have another scope here. I've got no idea what this is, no idea what it's called. It doesn't have any markings on it. It doesn't have any, I've got no way of telling what it's called. I might do that. I might do that, or I might not. Right, but regardless, I am going to go and change the target over and try it with the HW77. Okay. So this is the, I'm not going to, I don't need to bang on, do I? Don't need to say too much. This is the HW77 over the 35. Exactly the same thing. 10 shots, no chatting. Fire them off and we'll talk about it later. Let's do it. I think that was 10. It's just great. I think in the right hands of the right person, that would be, they'd be stacking them, stacking them and stacking them. Let's do them both at 50 and then we'll try and swap the scope over and see if that makes any difference. Should we try that? Yeah, why not? Right. So, just quickly, I've just pulled these ones from up there now, and the HW77, although I had what looks like 2 good shots on the target, the rest grouped quite nicely over there. I'm not too disappointed with the way the TX went. I've still got a nice group there. I've got 4 that went askew. So I'm kind of thinking, over the 50, there's not really much point in trying the TX because I think it's going to go a little bit further right. What I'm going to do off camera now is I'm going to change the scope over, try and zero it at 35 meters and see whether or not that makes any difference. I think that's probably going to give this one the fairest shake. I don't know that the scope is very good, but I know that this is a very accurate rifle. People speak very highly of it. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try the scope. I'm not sure if it's relevant, but given my past history with scopes moving, the arrestor pin has disappeared back up in itself like it was a fleshy part on a cold day. So, I don't know if that might have been the problem. I don't know. I don't know. It could have been, it might not have been. I might just be making excuses, I don't know. But the arrestor pin that's supposed to be located in the top of here isn't there. It's gone back up in itself. So, could that have been the fault? I don't know. Time will tell. Let's figure it out.
One pathetic sob story later.
So, I've just spent the last probably hour, easy, just over, messing around with that other scope. I think that other scope's all right, but I think it would probably be much better off on a PCP. It's got no arrestor block, and it is quite a substantial lump as well. It looked massive on there. Didn't really change anything. It was actually probably slightly worse. So I've put it back together with the Nico Sterling again, but I've put the arrestor pin back down. I'm at 50 meters now. We've got to try it. I'm not going to mess around with it too much. There's no point in trying to gild the lily, is there? We'll just try it. I just want to say though, how lucky am I? Because This is bloody brilliant. The TX200 is a bloody brilliant rifle. Just these rifles that I've got here are incredible, and yeah, I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky, and I especially lucky that there are people that are actually happy to watch me try and muddle my way through it all as well, which is pretty cool. Very happy with that. Very buzzing with that. Very buzzing with that? I don't think that's the right syntax. Let's have a little look here. I can't see very well where they're going, so I'm just going to fire 10 and we'll talk about it after. I'm not going to go too deep into this now, but I think it may be... I think the trigger's very stiff on the second stage. I don't think it sears very well. I think maybe I'm pulling it. It's a bit jumpy when I pull the trigger. So let me just make sure it's nobody down there and it's safe for a minute. Right, that's pointed into some sand. Right, so what I'm saying is, that's your first stage, it's great. I think it's got a little bit too much pull. I don't know, but that's something to work out for the future. Maybe I'll do another video working out whether or not that works. But just taking those shots then, and obviously because it's a lot further, I'm trying to be a little bit more steady and a little bit more aware of what's going on. And then on the first stage is fine, and then it gets to the point break, as I suppose it's called, the point of breaking, and it's got a fair old tug. So I don't know if that's affecting it. Could be that. Just spoke all of that again into there. Basically, I think the trigger's broke. It's something worth looking at, I think, because that trigger is very much different to this one. Now, I'm not saying that is the fault, or you know, the fault is possibly mine, well, most likely mine. But the way that this one sears, I'm just going to check that a second. Have a little look. So when this one sears off, making sure I'm going into some sand here, and this is the first stage on the record trigger. It's very short, which I quite like, and it sears very smoothly. Definitely something worth considering, I think. I'm quite new to all of this, so going into those sorts of depths isn't really something I'd ever done, but it's definitely a big difference. So we'll put a target up for this one. Spanked it like that then. Feel a bit uncomfortable about that. So like I said, I'm just going to rattle through them, same as before. I think for 10 shots, that's not bad, is it? Right, let's go and have a look. I'm going to take you with me. Okay, beautiful day today, look. I found a little frog down here just a minute ago. I'll put that in there. Well, watch where you're stepping around these parts, aren't you? Hello, mate. Off you pop then. There you go. Cheers, mate. Tiny little one. This is the 50 metre mark. Right, okay, so 50 metres, apart from a couple, that's not bad, is it? I had to do it again because the battery ran out. But that's bloody good, isn't it? So ignore them two. 8 shots, 50 metres, spring rifle, me shooting. I'm all right with that. Definitely all right with that. But what I want to do before I go, I want to see whether or not I can get this HW77 to hit this as well. Oh yeah, that ain't bad. We've got a little view on it now. Right, let's go with that. So for those of you who don't know, the saw ringer is a plate with a hole in, 50 metre mark, and in behind is a saw blade, hence ye old saw ringer. And you can't really come to D range and shoot and not try and hit it. So I'm gonna have a go. Right, I don't know how many shots it's gonna take. I'm gonna be honest about it. There'll be some edits unless I hit it, and then when I hit it, I'll try and just do it in real time to see whether or not I can hit it a second time. I actually really enjoy this. If I wasn't making a video, I could genuinely just come here and just try to hit that all day long. I absolutely love it. Right, what's going on here? There we go, that's better. Daylight. Let's try. Now I think that I was just off the edge there, wasn't I? bit of lead went through there, definitely. There's one. Oh, I was really hoping, because 2 in a row is my maximum. It's the most I've ever got. But 2 in a row, that's bloody good. I'm very happy with that. Absolutely buzzing with it. Right, so in conclusion then, I think it's safe to say that we all probably have figured out that I prefer the HW77. That's not to say it's a better rifle. I think out of the ones that I've got, the 77 is better than the TX200. In general, they might not be. I don't know. I think it might be horses for courses. I do think that now that I've fired them both next to each other, which was definitely worth doing, I do think that maybe with a little bit of work on the trigger, the TX200 might be a little bit better. But this has been a lot of fun for me today. I'd like to get them both on par because I think they look great together. Look at them. Look. I think that those stocks matching is something else. I'm genuinely very proud of that. Thank you for watching this video. I massively appreciate every single one of you. Like and subscribe if you want to, if you haven't already. If you don't want to though, that's completely up to you as well. It's your YouTube. You do exactly what you want to do with it. Do whatever makes you happy. That's what makes me happy. But thanks for watching this one. I've had a great time. See you in the next video. Take care. Cheers then. Bye.